Bleacher Report grades all of the off-season moves for teams. For the Browns, they grade them as an A-minus. Hard to argue. We've talked a number of times the passing game needed upgrading, and I would say, Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper upgrades that. I think the trade for Amari Cooper was well done. You paid him $20 million. You can extend him it's extended for a couple of years. And you saw the crazy deals that were going off the board in free agency, and it only cost you a fifth-round pick.
Yeah, so again, like you said, the problem with the Browns was the pass game. You get a number one receiver, and you get one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. It makes sense, obviously, to boost that grade up to where it is at an A-minus. Maybe it gets knocked a little bit because they traded 6 picks against Deshaun Watson. I'd argue that's the price you had to pay to go get a guy like that. And the biggest thing you gave up in that deal was the 13th pick in the draft. If Watson plays as expected, those next 2 first-round picks are going to be potentially in the mid to late 20s, possibly even in the 30s, depending on how far this team goes in the playoffs. So those are essentially super high second-round picks. And then the Cooper deal, obviously you have to take on his salary, but they gave up very little to get him, basically just a pick swap to get Amari Cooper, who certainly I think is one of the more underrated receivers in the NFL. I'm fascinated how he's going to play alongside Deshaun Watson. And obviously there's still work to do. You still got to figure out who's going to start opposite Myles Garrett. You got to figure out how they're going to reshape the rest of the receiver group as far as, who's going to play on the depth chart between guys like Cooper and then the other guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones and Anthony Schwartz, who's going to be year 2, who's going to be year 3. Those are things still TBD. But, at this point of the season, you can argue the Browns really took care of those needs and what's become a passing game, obviously. And now they seem like they have a passing game that on paper has the ability to compete with pretty much anybody.